What up, watch peeps? I wasn't even sure I was going to do a video out of this, but I had the footage, and I know there are people who enjoy the mod videos, so I built another Quartz in an NH35 case, and as you guys know, I like to have a lot of fun when I do these, so without further ado, let's check it out. I'm Pete, and we are Chillin' with Watches. First check. I am wearing the new Vostok 740 I believe, which is the all brushed 120 with all these kind of factory upgrades like stainless steel crown, better hands, better loom, better bracelet. I have it on this AliExpress bracelet I just recently picked up for it. I think it looks pretty good. This red dial is just striking. Love this watch. But what we got today is, another one of my wacky projects. If you watched the Firefly video, you saw this case. I mentioned I had it slated for another project, and that is this. So this is just a 39mm kind of oyster case. Came with this bracelet. It says 904L on it. I have no idea if that's true. I don't think this one is on the fly adjust. This case was pretty cheap, but nonetheless, it should be pretty good combo with that case. And what we're doing here is we have a Ronda 515, and shout out to Brian from Watch Complications. Again, he makes these holders and spacers that adapt the Ronda 515 to work in cases designed for the Seiko NH35. So I'm going to do another Quartz build here, and what I've got is this wacky poker table dial that I'm going to use, and these are some hands. I don't know if you can see them here. Nothing too crazy on the handset, but I think they'll be a nice pairing with that poker table. So first thing we're going to do is crack open this movement and get the dial on there. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll check back in and show you what we're looking at. So the Ronda 515 is a Swiss quartz movement battery, and the interesting thing about it is that it uses the same exact dial feet locations and date window placement as an ETA 2824. So any dials designed for the ETA 2824 will work on the Ronda 515 as long as they are, well, in this case, 28.5mm, because it's designed for a Seiko style build in this case. So let me get open the dial and show that to you. So here's the dial. Super fun. It's like it's even like a glossy green with, all the different suits on it and some poker chips. No date window on this one, so I won't have to worry about that. If we take a look, this one does have 4 dial feet. I think the other 2 are for Miyotas, so I'm going to be cutting those 2 off, and then it should slide right onto my 515. Alright, so here is what we're going to be looking at, and that dial is super cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. Cutting the dial feet off, I showed you guys these before. These are flush cuts. They are great for removing dial feet. They'll leave it nice and flush with the bottom of the dial, so you do not have to get in there and file the stump of the dial foot off. Great thing to have if you're going to be cutting a lot of dial feet, which in today's dials all have like 3 and 4 o'clock feet for Seikos or multi-movement feet, so definitely something to use. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the hands on this thing, and I will show you how those look. Setting the hands is exactly the same as like with an automatic. You're going to kind of turn your crown until you hear the date flip, and then you're going to set them at 12 o'clock. For me, I always set the hour hand at 12, then I rotate it down to 6 o'clock, and then once it hits 6 o'clock, then I set the minutes hand again at the 12 o'clock indicator. I find that usually results in the best alignment as far as hours to minutes goes. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get that seconds hand on here. So there we go. I got the seconds hand on there. Seconds hand, when you buy these really cheap hands, you will run into some issues. The hole in the seconds hand was really tight. I couldn't get it over the seconds hand post on this movement. Seiko uses the same size seconds hand post, so I kind of forced it onto an old 7S26 movement I had here. Then it was a little too loose when I tried to put it back on this 515, so I had to pinch the seconds hand hole a little bit with tweezers until I got it just right, but it's on there now. It's nice and tight and secure. Everything's lined up. Got the crown out. I'm going to go ahead and case this sucker. All right, so right now I got the movement in there. It is just sitting loosely in there, as you can see. I'm gonna have to put the crown in to kind of secure it. Now this is where Brian from Watch Complications Spacer will come into play. If you can see right here on the movement, there's this little notch. Put that in the middle. That notch will line up, kind of like a semicircle notch, will line up with this notch on Brian's movement holder, and that is what's going to keep this movement holder from twisting around or anything. It's going to really hold it in place, keep the gap lined up with the section it has for the crown post. And I gotta tell you, doing it this time around with a dial that actually has feet for the movement was a lot nicer. Last time I used dial dots, and you know, when you're already putting a movement that's not designed for this case in there, you don't want one more point of weakness. And I just kind of felt like that was what that was. Everything feels a lot more tighter and secure here. So what we're going to do now is put the crown in. So when you're dealing with crowns, you're almost certainly going to want a pin vise like this. And it only comes with the one crown that was on there, so you're going to need to get this old plastic crown off of there. And what we're going to do is replace that with the crown that came with the case. So I'm just going to be putting this on here for now to size it up. I'm not fixing it permanently. Eventually I'll put some thread locker in there. So we're going to go ahead and get this through the case to get everything lined up real nice and tight, and then we'll trim the crown stem. All right, so the crown is in. It is all set. It's just kind of free floating right now. So what I'm going to do is put the case back on, and then so everything is kind of held in place, because this kind of all works together like a sandwich. You need all the parts in place to really hold everything where they're going to be. The case back will hold on to this movement holder, which will hold the movement, and then everything will be in place. Then we're going to take the measurement and find out how much of the crown stem we need to trim off. To determine how much crown stem you need to move, well, you need to know first that you want, these are spring-loaded crowns, you want the crown to be the spring fully compressed on the crown when it's screwed in. So to find out how much to remove, you just want to measure the gap when the crown is fully compressed. So what I do is I will put this part of my calipers in here, then I will compress that crown, which will, you know, squeeze this down, and that'll tell me exactly how much to trim off. Then I'm just going to put the stem inside this gap and cut that little bit off, and that is about it. So let's go ahead and get that done. Show you guys real quick what I'm talking about here for trimming. Once I've determined with this end of the calipers how much my gap is, then I switch to this end. I'm just going to put this in there, and I'm going to stick I have like boron cutters. I'm going to kind of stick those in there and trim that much of the stem off, and then it should fit perfectly. All right, I got the crown cut and all assembled. So, you know, before I tested it, made sure it fit before I went ahead and thread locked that crown on there. It fit, so I did that. Before you want to screw it back into the crown after trimming the stem, you need to take a file and round the threaded end of it so it goes in nice and smoothly. There's no burrs. I have a whole video on this, how to cut a crown stem. Go check that out if you're interested in that. Then I thread locked it, sealed it, and because I'm a Mac Daddy, I also apply the slightest bit of Syntalube onto the square end of the stem here where it will come in contact with the keyless works. It'll just provide less friction, nice smooth working. So I'm going to go ahead and get this inserted, and I think we can close it up and we're just about done. All right, so here we are with the crown inserted, and you can see I got the movement holder laying in there around the top of the 515. Just put a fresh coat of silicone grease on the case back gasket. So we're going to go ahead and seal this bad boy up. And there we go. Oh man, guys, this thing is amazing. I apologize if there's any fingerprints on here. I think I did a pretty good job. I'll get that blue protective off of the crown there. But yeah, there you can see it's in there. Is it a great perfect fit? No, you know, it's not. You can see the dial moves slightly when I have the crown unscrewed. Nothing I'm worried about, but when it's screwed down, everything is really nice and tight and great fit, held together. There's no kind of wobble. It's really solid. So let's get this bracelet sized up and check it out on wrist. And so here it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. I have not sized up the bracelet yet. I'll go ahead and do that. But this one actually is really nice. The end lengths fit perfectly. The spring bars snapped right in. And really the clasp is solid. It closes. And it is an on-the-fly micro adjust clasp, if I can show you here. So you can see how that kind of has those increments in there. It slides, and then you find one, you snap it back in. So you got on-the-fly micros. I should get a really nice fit. Everything fits really good. I'm super happy with this project. And, you know, all in, I think I'm at, I don't know, like 85 bucks for this. I think it was like 25 for the dial and hands, 40 for the case and bracelet together on eBay. Crazy. The movement was only like 15 bucks. And, you know, I think I got 2 of those movement holders from Brian for like $12 or something. So, I mean, you can get into something like this for like 80, 85 bucks. That is a super fun project. I mean, is it, you know, a super high-end build? No, but it's a lot of fun. And now my Quartz love pig won't be lonely. We'll have to come up with a good name for the poker table build, guys. So post up in the comments what you think we should name the poker table watch. So there you go, the poker table build. You know, I really like the shade of green a lot more than I thought I would. I can't stand having parts laying around. Well, I mean, I have thousands of them behind me, but sometimes I can't stand looking at certain parts and not envision the watch that they just need to be, and that's kind of what happened with this one here. I don't have any more of those Ronda to NH35 case movement holders, but I made 2 really cool watches out of them that I think the channel will be remembered for. Who knows what my next mod project will be? I don't have anything planned, but I'm sure there will be another video at some point. All right, before I let you go, sneaker check. I'm wearing my new J's. You know, nobody else has these, and I just can't take them off. That's it. I'm out. If it's not too much trouble, please like, subscribe, and come back next time. Peace.